Welcome everyone to our Monday Global Heart Resonance Call, our Good of the Whole gathering. My name is Shelley Darling and I'll be hosting this call and excited to have Dr. Julie Krull, who'll be opening the resonance. She's the founder of Good of the Whole and always holding the whole for all of us. Just this beautiful big heart. So each week we come together as a conscious, interconnected global community, bringing the ethos of wholeness and loving consciousness into every aspect of our life. We all are planetary stewards committed to the good of the whole, and we come together to listen and to speak from our hearts and intentionally expand this resonant field of love. We like to call it we're gathering at the watering hole, and because we really find ourselves just like being in an oasis, really feeling nurtured and revitalized and uplifted. So on this call, we're really focusing on this emergent field. And what we've discovered is that as we're cultivating this field together through this call, and it's a fully participatory call, we begin to experience the patterns of separation dissolve. And it seems to expand our capacity to be present and to really enhance our leading with love, leading with unconditional love. So it's a really magnificent call. And for those of you that are new, the way this call works is I'll invite Julie to open with a beautiful heart resonance, bringing us into this collective field together. And then I'll share our reflection, our topic of inspiration this morning, and a few simple protocol that we use to help keep the coherence of the field building. And so that's what really makes this call unique, is that rather than focusing on individuals, and it's beautiful if you have a computer to see everyone, at the same time we're really choosing to focus on this collective consciousness, the field herself, and how she speaks through us and as us. So with that, I want to welcome Julie, and we're just opening the field and handing the talking stick to you, sweetie.
Thank you. Let us come into this moment and straighten our spines and take a deep breath. And feel the flow moving inward and outward with our breath. This infinite flow doesn't stop unless we think about it and make it stop. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's shallow. Go into the breath and just really allow that infinity of motion. When we were beginning this call, I had this vision of the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole, inspired by so much polarization in our world today. And I just want us to be mindful. Let's just really breathe. Those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, which is most of us on this call right now, we're in the season of winter, where most of us, if you think about a seed in the ground or a root or a bulb, any kind of plant, is in hibernation for the winter. It's gone inward into the winter months to really build up the energy, the sugars, the vitality for the coming spring. We've pulled back. We've gone inward. Really feel what that's like in your body to go inward, preparing for spring, preparing to go back outward. And then imagine our brothers and sisters in the Southern Hemisphere are really in the place of preparing to bloom, to blossom. They're harvesting, they're fruiting. And it just is. And this perfect timing, this perfect seasons and cycles, where some of us are going within and some of us are going out. Some gardens are dormant. They look dead. They look sometimes sad to us. Maybe our gardens are under 2 foot of snow and they look cold, frozen. And those in the Southern Hemisphere are in full bloom with vibrant colors and greens and lots of vegetation and animals and happiness and movement. It all is. So again, breathing in that inward breath and that outward exhale. Just feel into the perfection of our seasons and cycles. As we move into this theme of courage to challenge, sometimes that challenge is to go out, to move outward. Sometimes that challenge is to move inward. And we just be here in this moment right now with the essence of courage. And I pass the talking stick to Shelley.
Oh, beautiful. So the invitation is to continue breathing and deepening into this sense of wholeness. That's what I was experiencing as I was taking in this full visceral experience of these poles of consciousness and of 3D awareness. So welcome to those who just joined us. And as Julie was saying, our inspirational theme this morning is courage to challenge. And what instinctively came prior to this theme was this understanding, this having the courage to change. We're always thinking about change. And it took it another layer deeper to come into this experience of challenge. Yes, the way we challenge ourselves to, the need to go in or the need to come out. I love that. So today, for those that are just joining us, I'm just going to share a little bit about resonance and how this call works. These just simple protocol that helps to really build this field of coherence and a deepening into what we described as this unified emerging field of consciousness, this collective consciousness. And understanding that resonance in a group allows for a greater felt sense of harmony and connection. And inviting those of you to mute yourselves. And that our focus on this call is to attune to this highest vibration. Understanding that this is like a symphony. We're each orchestrating, the field is speaking through us and as us. So the simple protocol on this call is holding that focus, that intention of our collective resonance, accessing the field as it's emerging. We love to call this in Good of the Whole, the home frequency, tapping into that home frequency. And the invitation is to limit your contributions to 1 to 2 minutes. So giving spaciousness for everyone to share, and also that you can share more than once as you feel called to. And we invite you here to speak to the whole. You might be inspired by something that someone says individually, But when we hold that focus of the whole, there is an experience of upliftment, and it takes the circle beyond our ordinary ways of interaction. And here we're consciously, deeply listening to this thread. We're listening to follow that thread that's emerging through the dialogue. And it's moving in present time, and to stay in that present time. And one of the most favorite things that I love is the pause. On this call, we totally acknowledge that liminal space in between the shares, this pause to allow ourselves to step back and to be drawn into that space. It will take us deeper into this collective feel, this direct knowing of this experience. So really pause to listen, and then sharing as you feel called to. And we invite you to say your name as you're speaking. For those who are on the phone, they can't see us, and we want to acknowledge them and give a little bit more space for them to jump into the conversation. If you're on a computer, there's up on the right-hand side, there's a gallery view or speaker view. You can change that as you wish. If you go on gallery view, you'll get to see everyone. And those of you that are on the phone, if you download Zoom, you can swipe left, and you'll be able to see the people that are on the call. And we like that. We're building this tapestry of love, and there's something really beautiful about seeing each other. So with that, our focus this morning, the courage to change. So with this courage to change, we have to acknowledge this full moon eclipse, the super full moon, blood moon that's happening. We are in this oceanic movement of a lot of emotional energy. And this moon is really asking us to be bold, to step forward as our greatest expression. Really to tap into that heart's desire and really shine our light. And for a lot of us, that's a challenge unto itself. So on this call, it's a really safe space. We're inviting you to just open that internal compass of love, that internal aperture, to open to receive. And a quote by Robert Quinn to drop us in deeper is that making deep change involves abandoning our identity around our knowledge and walking naked into the land of uncertainty. So this morning, as we're lit and we deeply listen, we allow this expression to come forward. What is it that's moving in you? What's emerging as you feel this movement, this deep wind of grace that permeates and penetrates our inner cellular structure, to step forward, to speak for the whole. And with that, I'm complete. And we open the call. We just have a virtual talking stick or a talking feather, as you would see, and we just place it in the center. And when you feel that call, just to express your essential self, please take it, say your name, and we'll all be listening, and we'll all start to follow that thread. So with that, blessings, and you can end your share by saying, I'm complete, or I'm whole, filled, whatever works for you. So with that, thank you for showing up on this call, and I'm complete.
Good morning, good afternoon. This is Linda, and the topic of courage I heard the word challenge in there, and then I heard the word change. And I think that the challenge is to change. And tonight is my first class for the Pachamama Alliance Game Changer Intensive. And I've taken it a few times before, and one of the things to do is to write a letter to ourselves. And I was just reading that last night from last year about how much courage I was asking for in order to change and be a game changer and to change not only myself, but to help inspire people around me to make conscious changes in how we consume and how we look at the whole picture of our lives and what's going on the planet and how we affect everything and everyone. Excuse me. So the courage to change, I believe, comes from the deepest part of ourselves that can accept ourselves just the way we are in the moment, just like that garden. And when we are fully in love with ourselves and have accepted every weed in the garden, then we feel confident enough to step out a little bit, make another little change in our lives. So to me, having courage to change doesn't mean leaping off the highest cliff without seeing the bottom, but to just find a small step that I can jump up to, or another one and another one, and continually stay in that movement of changing, doing something, not necessarily more, but to do it better. So that's my opening flow about having the courage to be yourself and then make incremental changes. And I'm complete.
I would like to follow that by again returning. I think I shared once before about this, that comes up with these themes of the fire in the heart, or that we're all here because our hearts are on fire for our planet, for humanity, for the children. And we're here to, with that impulse of creation, but that impulse of creation is about change, is about unfoldment, is about awakening to more fully what we know is a better way. And then that inner knowing is also a knowing that we together, we can co-create that better way. So the Leo is a sign that relates to self-expression, to creativity, to children. And the complement to that, where the sun is now, is Aquarius, which is about that larger wholeness of community that we are, which is about co-creation. So it's kind of creation and co-creation, and here we're in that space or that field where the co-creation, we realize that we're looking for what Barbara Marx Hubbard speaks about of the social potential. The potential of us coming together. It's not just our individual potential, but in the larger picture. So I feel complete for now.
This is Shelley, darling. I'm going to jump in here, just following that thread. What's happening in my body as I'm listening is I feel that it's softening, and I had this intuitive sort of aha that, sometimes with challenges, well, not even sometimes, probably most of the time, when we feel a challenge, we constrict, we get tight, we challenge, just that word itself, and I love this thread of the courage to change is that challenge. And so I'm noticing that I feel like this slight awakening. Oh, if I can just remember to soften when I feel stuck, when I feel that something in me pulling me forward, or even pushing or nudging me from behind, that my physicality wants to tighten. And just by taking that next breath and softening, that my capacity to be present, to meet what was being shared about that full acceptance of myself. Wow, there's nothing separate here within me trying to make me do something I don't want to do. It's actually that call of creation. So I'm just really noticing that little shift in, oh, okay, whoa, I was tightening, and now I can just open and relax and feel that freedom of that current of love moving me forward instead of me. I was laughing when I was listening, like, oh, we don't need to make that leap. In my world, as a Sagittarian, I'm like always trying to make these giant leaps, but, just those simple steps forward, and before we know it, we're noticing these major shifts that have happened, these planetary inner awakenings. So with that, I'm complete and pass this beautiful virtual talking stick.
So this is Nicole. I'm going to take the feather for a second, and just to follow with what Shelley was saying, just yesterday, it's kind of nice here in Ohio right now, so you're able to go outside. And while I was outside, I was visiting my garden, and I did notice that the soil was so much softer right now. All of the snow has melted. The ground seems a lot more fertile. Everything is just kind of softening and kind of allowing, just in the season that I'm in my natural environment as well. And as I kind of took a moment to like really kind of just breathe that in, I was looking over my hillside, and I have just this beautiful hillside. I could see the sun rising at the same time, and it was like I was just kind of softening myself, just kind of just in awe of what's around me already, just kind of like, thank you, divine, for just this moment in time, for this beautiful display, this beautiful sunrise. And as I was completely soft and just in complete gratitude in that moment, I hear a whisper in my ear, and it says, you are the daughter of the God, of the divine creator, of the powerful manifester. Why do you worry? And I thought, let me breathe that in for a minute. And when you put it in that perspective, why do I? That is such a powerful gift. And when you're really allowing and to accept all that you are, and to have that knowing that we are sons and daughters of the creator, and how much magic there is in that. I think that it's when you're in that allowing, and you receive those messages, and your heart can just be so expansive and so full with that knowledge, it provides you with this like bursting out, like the seed's almost ready to come out, and all of the faith and trust and allowing that, everything's coming and unfolding just like the seed is right now. It's unfolding exactly the way it should. And with that, I feel complete. I just wanted to share.
This is Julie. I love this thread weaving in and out, and I, as you were talking, and I'm thinking about that, the death in the garden that's not really death, it's life and the seasons. And I had a friend recently say to me that you know who you are, and that we all must die to all things that we are not. We're in this process of dying to all the things that we are not, and that these deaths are occurring for our highest good. And often in my head, I talk about hospicing the old, but I don't really think about, I always think out there. I'm always thinking out there, and I'm experiencing in here now, like the death is real. And even just hearing we must love all the parts of ourselves, I even question that anymore. Like, is that even true? It's not about loving all parts of ourselves, is it? Or is it just about being in love with all parts of ourselves? I don't know. I don't know if there's a differentiation. I think it's a high order to ask ourselves that very thing. So just, I love the image of this seed. I love the image that the acorn doesn't know it's an oak tree, and that's totally okay. And then the oak tree is a seed, and it's going to have lots of seeds and in its lifetime, and just that whole seasons and cycle piece. So just coming back to that divine invitation to die to all the parts that aren't really us. And that's a high order, a big challenge, a big change, that takes a lot of courage to just relax into the dying and letting go. And I'm complete.
This is Dinama, and I hear the principle, the world is a reflection of me. And there's the greatest challenge. And seeing the world as a message board to me is new, and also a very mindful intention. And being in love with life enough to actually take the challenge I have co-created from my own inner reflection, and be enthusiastic about co-creating with what it is that my frequency is manifesting. And then sometimes not so much. I don't want to dance with it. It hurts, or it opens things I've been running away from. And that's where standing like in front of a charging bull elephant and being calm with my expression seems to be the greatest practice for creating what it is that is my natural frequency, my home frequency, and wholeness. I'm complete.
It's interesting to me, this when we have circumstances in our lives that either bring us to thinking about death. It's funny, when I was just musing with this, because right before this call, what I thought was fascinating was that my my dad showed up just completely out of the blue, and he came to bring something, but what was really going on was his uncomfortability around my mom really losing her capacity to walk and to be clear and to keep herself, that control, to where we can create the life that we want around us to some respect. And he came here, and God, he was just, I watched his body, watched his body talk. And he wasn't he was ranting and raving because he was so out of his element, dealing with this woman that he's loved, that they've been together for 60 years, really begin to lose it. And following that thread of this sense of dying, the dying off of what is not the truth of who we are. My first thought was, well, as a dowser, everything's energy. So we're never really, there's nothing ever gone, or, we think in those terms, but essentially it's just the reorganization of energy as form, as it crystallizes in waves and particles. We're a wave, I'm a particle, and how am I flowing? But it's fascinating that just happened before this call, and having that courage, feeling that challenge, that life as it's really momentously shifting. how do we be present with ourselves and each other? And, you know, there's various ways of communicating, but just loving, I love, I'm looking at Denam, I like loving what is. Oops, sorry. Loving what is. You know, so to me, loving all aspects of self is loving all those dimensions, and however they act or react, you know, just bringing them in. Hi, I'm here. I'm finally all here. I can hold you. You know, how do we hold each other in these essentially dying moments? You know, because from the moment we're born, we're dying. I mean, there's so many ways to look at this, right? It's true. And yet this composition, all like these seedlings and particles, and the beauty is that we are being given the opportunity to be conscious in this movement of life, this birthing of our true selves, the joy in that, the delight in that, and the challenge to have the courage to step up. And for me, one of the greatest challenges is self-ownership. When I get into a situation and I really want to see myself as looking pretty good, and you know, I know it all, and you know, and I'm holding the whole for myself and somebody else. But the truth is, I can't even do that. I just need to relax and soften and yeah, just, you know, maybe, you know, I mean, I love these calls because it does bring in so much introspection and reflection, and our normal tendency is to think about it. But here we can breathe into it, allow it to nurture and to change us. So I feel that that's going on right now, is all these different components of this whole system. We love to call this the mothership, you know, where we come and be nurtured and fueled. You know, this is a restorative practice that we're engaging in here. So I'm really grateful just to have all these different, you know, pings, as they say in Australia, that awaken the soul and and enliven our imaginal selves to be something greater than the sum of our individual parts. So I'm really enjoying this morning, and I pass the talking stick. And for those of you that are on the phone, don't forget to unmute yourself, because sometimes in the background I'll have to put you on mute. So just unmute yourself. And much love. Thank you. I'm complete.
Hi. My name is Deborah Eagle. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I wasn't present last week, but I did listen afterwards, and I found I really found great solace in knowing just that this group exists. And I've just made a move to Tucson, Arizona, and I'm in a new space, and I don't feel a whole lot of courage right now. You know, looking at this topic, I thought, oh, well, that'll be interesting. It's interesting for me to notice that this full moon is Leo Aquarius, and to contemplate a little bit about that. And certainly Leo and creativity and the courage of the heart is all part of that. But I guess I really appreciate the comments about, you know, accepting oneself, because I feel like it's good for me to accept that I don't feel very much courage right now, even though I've just made a big leap and I've managed to manifest a home, which as a wanderer is not an easy thing for me to do. And I appreciate the comment about dying to all things that we are not, because there is something about Saturn going into Capricorn that feels like it's both creating a new structure as well as
tearing away all that we are not. So I guess I just really appreciate it. It feels so important in these times for there to be connective tissue between like-minded, like-hearted, like-souled human beings, as this just feels like a little oasis, I guess. And even without my courage right now, I'm very deeply grateful to be here now, and I am complete.
Self-compassion is the softening, and very powerful. Peace is an inside job. I'm complete.
Hi, this is Michael, and I'm meeting the technological challenge right now. I usually dial in by the phone, and now I'm finding everything slowed down, and as I sit here in Zoom, I have to call in on the phone, and I want to say everything that's been said has been, let me try and get this echo to sound, really resonates with me. Bear with me, thank you. So there's a Maya Angelou quote that Brené Brown has been using, and it says, "You are only free when you realize you belong no place. When you belong every place and no place at all, the price is high and the reward is great." And I think it just comes back to the work that I hear everybody talking about with self, and the sense of sitting with nature and knowing that we're really being held and supportive when we connect with Source. And I give a big aho for the red energy of this month and the amazing set of 3 moons, 3 super moons in a row, and we're really capping it off on the 31st with this super blue blood moon and in a lunar eclipse. So the energy is super palpable. It's lovely to see everybody's face. I'm gonna have to work on the computer. It looks like it's just moving in slow motion, but thank you. I am complete.
This is Linda again. And our word courage really comes from a French word, courage. The cour meaning the heart. So it's courage. I heard in this thread about courage of the heart. And I just wanted to bring that in, that we are being courageous, really, with every heartbeat. It takes a lot of courage to acknowledge we're going through a dying process, and to soften and to let go of all that no longer is meant to be in our lives. So have heart, courage. I'm complete.
Hi, this is Nicole dropping in. I also wanted to take a moment just to kind of observe. I spent a lot of time in nature and more importantly in the woods. And so in the fall, I love kind of just observing how when the leaves die and fall off the trees, you know, they then become the shelter for the seedlings. So even in death, everything has its purpose. And you know, as they kind of let go, they serve this new purpose of not only protecting these little seedlings as they lay in the hardened ground and waiting for it to soft so that they can sink in. They also then turn into the nutrients that is going to bring forth that new life, and that is such a beautiful thing. And so I keep hearing over and over and over again, you know, just rooted in faith, rooted in faith, rooted in faith. And through nature, all things happen exactly the way they are supposed to, just like everything we see is happening exactly the way they are supposed to. And so it's just kind of staying rooted in that faith and knowing that all death has its purpose. And it provides, it contributes to the movement of the new. And that is also something to admire and stand in awe of. And with that, I am complete.
So I'd like to say a couple things. One is courage is about showing up for me, of showing up with what's important, of showing up with our hearts, and opening to the reflection of what is there, of what is in our life, but also what is there in each moment, and what both the challenge is and the opportunity for me in experiencing that reflection of opening what is the gift as well. So there is not, from one of the books by the writer of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, Richard Bach, there is not a problem without a gift for you in its hands. So when we're showing up with our hearts, we're creating a space for that gift, for that newness, for what is the new seeds or what's wanting to emerge in this moment as we open to the reflection right in the moment. Then we're able to receive that, to perceive it. So I feel complete.
This is Shelley. I feel like I'm the Wicked Witch of the East that's going, I'm melting. just a sense of lusciousness that's touching my heart. That it's so beautiful, because it's like we think we don't have the courage, but we are courage, period. When there is no separation, like what was being shared. Courage, it's the heart opening, it's the heart expressing, it's the heart feeling, you know, coming from being a person that was a fix-it woman. I totally was for years, just control freak, let's fix it. And that made me really uncomfortable with people, especially, you know, like the people I was closest to, my daughter. She was just like, Mom, you know, and especially when we're all feeling, I want to speak to the courage, Gaia's courage, the heart of Gaia, the heart of all that's going on the planet. I mean, so much deep suffering, deep-rooted suffering, and the desire of these beings wanting to plant their seeds and feel that sensation of opening to those sun's rays, of feeling warmth, of feeling that connection. And I really, I'm just feeling really grateful and humbled and touched, because each expression that is happening is watering this seed, this heart. And it's like the shift of what we think is courage, it's something very different, like what's being said. It's like, it's just the willingness to open your petal, even in the most challenging circumstances, to be willing, for me, just be willing to be transparent. There's so much that's, everything that's going on in the world, it's like secret after secret is being, what's the word? Just exposed. But the secret of the heart is simply that it just wants to love more. It wants to love itself. It wants to groom. It wants to blossom. So just really grateful. And we still have a few minutes. And for those of you that haven't shared, just feel free to just jump in and presence your voice. You can just say where you are. This is a very understanding space of, that we are all seeds coming here at this oasis to be nurtured, to strengthen our roots, to deepen them as well. So with that, I'm complete, and we do have a few more minutes. So if you're feeling the urge to come forward, please do.
This is Julie again. I just feel called to just presence the courage that it may have taken for some of our new people to come on this call and to just show up and to have that number or that name on the screen, even if the voice doesn't come forward. That sometimes it takes a lot of courage to do something new like this. And so I just want to just acknowledge that courage and welcome everyone who's showing up in this moment. So I'm complete.
Thank you, Julie, for that. That's so true. We were all there once. So as we come to another turn on the spiral, it's never a closure. It's just another turn on the spiral. We invite you to come here each Monday. Every Monday, there's a different resonant reflection. It changes every month, every week. And we invite you to come to Good of the Whole Community page. Come and express yourself. Meet us in that virtual way as well as come to Good of the Whole. Good of the Whole is just this beautiful. We invite you to become a mentoring steward and come and join us and really blossom. I just see us as a forest, a field of this of courageous hearts. And with that, just stay connected. If you're having an issue with your screen and you'd like help with your phone, or please just private message myself or Julie at Good of the Whole Community, and we'd be glad to help you. we can set up a time and make that easier for you. So with that, I'm just going to end with this. I don't really think of myself as a poet, but something came through this morning, and I just think it's a beautiful way to end. And then we will invite everybody to unmute yourselves, and we have a delicious symphony of yum. So with that, you can begin to unmute yourself, and I'll just read into the field. Amid courage to challenge. Amidst the wild and blustery winds, I stand poised. Running soft fingers over a well-worn heart. I look out beyond the beyond, across the plains of uncertainty. I am full. Then comes the urging to step forward. The very effervescence permeates and penetrates in us, the cellular knowing. My wholeness illuminates. Courageously, I choose to take the walk with you. I take the challenge. So with that, everyone can unmute yourself, and we'll all join in the symphonic yum. Yum, 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 yum. Rippling this yum. Thank you, everyone.
Yum, yum.
Oh. Thank you, Linda. Bye for now. See you next Monday.
Happy courage.